Welcome to January Donovan Show, where we have a segment of mother and daughter, and I'm joined with my daughter Pia Donovan, where she answers questions about practical life and just how to become a whole version of yourself as a young lady. Pia, welcome.
Thank you.
All right, so the question today is how should we why should we not do bare minimum in the things that we do? That is a conversation and a language and a script in our house that mom and dad hounds our children. What is the word that I don't like? Like, I don't like
Work.
cheap work. What does cheap work mean?
Just not doing something 100%, not giving it your all. Just
Yeah,
doing
bare
bare.
minimum, bare minimum. So my kids hear me say, I don't like cheap work, right? And why is it? Because they're going to suffer, right? If you do cheap work, nobody's going to want to hire you. You're going to not fulfill it is what you're called to do. So let's talk about how that lands in your heart, like bare minimum work. So first of all, like, what's the consequence of bare minimum work for you from your perspective as a teenager?
Well, you usually get frustrated when we're not giving full effort, but also it creates a habit for me. Like, if I can do bare minimum here, then why can't I do bare minimum somewhere else in my life? And I just create this whole effect where it's okay, I can not give my all here. I don't really need to do all of it here. And it's like a habit of not doing what you should in the right moment and doing it to the best of your ability,
Yeah. So it's the opposite of bare minimum.
above and beyond.
Yes, and that having that script above and beyond, and it's also something that sometimes we're above and beyond in certain things or certain situations, but other things we're not quite, just because we need to skill up or we need to bring level of awareness. And I think that like dishes is a good example of like sometimes we want to do bare minimum, sometimes we do
Mhm.
above and beyond, and I always like to use the dishes because it's like a real like I did it and I did it well. You can kind of you know. Um, see it. Now, what would happen if you see me do bare minimum work? Like dad, like I love it when dad does something, it's like I just trust his work. Like I know it's going to be above and beyond, whether it's writing something or helping me with a cleaning the island. It's always like above and beyond. Tell me your experience of your father and above and beyond work that you've observed from him.
It just really sets an example for me, and I think I said this in a different video, but having people who are doing certain things that may be challenging for you, but you know are right, really just sets the example, and you're like, okay, they can do this, I can also do this, and how can I learn from what they're doing and apply it to my life? And I feel like it's also really hard when children are like, okay, I need to do something. Like they have a desire to do something as well as they can, but then they see their parents maybe taking shortcuts, not going above and beyond, and doing bare minimum, and that creates almost. They're like, oh, if they're doing it, it's okay. I can do it, and it creates a generation of people who don't work to their full ability, and at bare minimum is the normal.
Yeah. And like lazy is like dad's pet peeve.
Yeah.
This I don't, when I say cheap work, it's the same thing as like lazy work, and he's a great role model. Um, how do you challenge yourself to go above and beyond when you don't want to?
I think for me, it's also very difficult, especially when I'm not in the mood to do the laundry or do the dishes or watch my siblings. But I just have to understand I can offer up all these things that I'm
So
doing.
good.
And in reality, it's really not that hard and it's not that challenging. And it's such a small sacrifice to offer. But for me, it's like, oh, I have to do all these dishes. But just putting that in perspective, like so many people are suffering. And just to be able to do this tiny thing is it's such a grace. I think to be able to do it with humility and not make it such a big deal, like it's such a pain. And that's why I really admire Saint Therese. I think
The
how it's
little
in
ways.
little ways, and I think that's really good, especially for younger people. Just offering up, having to do chores and just small things throughout your day, and that can really help you.
That's such a great answer, sweetie. I mean, it really is. It's like offer it up and all little ways. And I always want to say, it's extraordinary in the ordinary ways. Like
Hmm.
that's how you want to set the table, and you want, even when you're cooking, you want it orderly. You want to make it look presentable for yourself, in all those micro ways. And I think what you said is put in perspective is a really good like script, because I think especially in America, it's easy to just lose perspective because we live pretty comfortably. I mean, I say that because I'm,
I think we do, yeah.
in the Philippines, it's like people don't have a lot of things. And so you can really kind of like, wow, I have a meal, and I guess like and when you were younger, I would always sort of like, well, I didn't have that, or kind of just put things in perspective. I would actually get frustrated sometimes with my children because I'm like, you have it so good, you have it so good. Um, what would you say to people who maybe kind of lose perspective of gratitude, um, and kind of complain about little things?
Well, for me, I definitely found myself in those situations. So I was just reminding myself that there's a lot more problems in the world, and this is such a small problem, and it's something that I could easily offer up. And I feel like, especially being really fortunate in your life, just being able to experience like maybe a mission trip or just being able
Mm,
to experience like the life of other people and being able to really be put in like that environment, I feel like that would really help me to understand on a deeper level, not just knowing that it's there, but really seeing it and seeing the gravity of it. That would really help me to grow, and all these like difficult things for me won't be as difficult anymore once I see what other people are going through.
Tony Robbins has this thing where he says, you can't be angry and grateful at the same time. So it's like in those moments when you have to do above and beyond work, it's just be grateful that you even have, work, and like you said, offer it up. What's your advice to girls that are listening on how to do above and beyond work as a way to actually make them happier individual? And just
I
an
think,
advice for them, yeah.
yeah, I think it's definitely difficult when you first start, maybe like doing a bunch of dishes or doing a bunch of laundry. But for me, I feel really rewarded when it's done and when it's accomplished. So I feel like just pushing yourself to start and just like, okay, this is not hard. Like this is not difficult, and I can do it. And kind of just giving yourself scripts that help you to understand the importance of being able to have these skills and being able to do them, but also doing them joyfully and doing them happy and not making everyone else suffer around you because you're frustrated about something you have to do.
Yeah. What if I didn't like push you to do above and beyond work?
Then I
Like,
probably would never do it.
that's a really good insight for moms, because like I have to resist your resistance. I have to be able to, when you push back, I have to push back harder when I know it's your highest good, right? And at the end of the day, you will be grateful, but you don't always see it right away. And as a mom, it's not always fun. Like, I'm not your friend, I'm your mother, which means I have to do what's your highest good, but you're open, which I'm grateful. All right. Well, to anybody that's listening to us, if you have any questions for Pia, for myself, and how to raise girls, you can email to us at january@januarydonovan.com. Join us in our free school community where we also have training on practical life, in every arena of a woman's life. And you can bring in your daughters in there. I'll have Pia's videos in there as well. Till then, God bless you all. I'll see you at the next podcast.